Well, welcome and let's get started on this beautiful cafe wave pullover or sweater. We will be crocheting two pieces that look something like this. For the cafe sweater, I was using a number 4 medium weight yarn. You will need 2 skeins of the cafe color, 1 skein of the beige, and 1 skein of the white. This weight of yarn definitely makes the sweater a little bit heavier, or you can try the lighter weight yarn. For the lighter weight, I chose a number 3 lightweight yarn, and this is from Bernette Baby Sport. I used the entire ball, and I needed actually a little bit of extra to do the cuff and the bottom. You will also need a 4mm crochet hook, measuring tape, stitch marker, scissors, and a darning needle. If you like this video, please be sure to hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks, and let's get going on this sweater. So the first thing we're going to have to do is measure the hips or the widest part of your body to make sure that the sweater fits. So you're going to take that measurement, add 2 to 4 inches, and then we'll divide it into 2. For the cafe color, I didn't add the extra inches, but for the white one, I added 4 inches to my hip measurement. So I actually preferred that I added the 4 inches because it just was a little bit of a looser fit, and I preferred that. So however you want your sweater to fit is how you will make your starting chain. I'm going to be using a number 4mm crochet hook from Furls Crochet. I will put the link in the description if you're interested in this. It's the first time I've ever used a different type of hook. I actually really liked the way it fit in my hand and how it felt throughout the entire project. You can always go up a size, but I did quite a loose crochet for the entire project. So let's start with a slip knot. We're then going to chain 2. We're going to start with the foundation half double crochet stitch. So after your chain 2, we're going to work into that first chain and into that back little bump right there. So we're going to yarn over first, go into that bump, right in there. We're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. And now we're going to yarn over and just pull through 1. And that kind of creates our bottom chain. And then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3, which creates our half double crochet. So working our next stitch, we're going to yarn over, and this time we're going to go under that bottom chain that we made, so under the V right there, pull up a loop. We're going to yarn over, pull through 1, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. Let's do it again. So yarn over going into the bottom, under that chain, which is like the V there, pull up a loop, yarn over through 1, which has created a chain at the bottom, and then yarn over and pull through all 3. So you can now see how it looks like a half double crochet, and on the bottom you have this really nice finish. So a hint is that I like to hold my work vertical or even upside down to make it easier. This is just a great way to do these foundation stitches. So let's do a few more together. Yarn over, going into the bottom, pulling up a loop, yarn over, creating our bottom chain, yarn over, pull through all 3. You can see as you go that it creates a really nice stretch, and it's just great for the bottom of this sweater. So let's continue with this stitch until you've reached your approximate size. See how nice and stretchy this is? So once you have your approximate size, your foundation needs to be in multiples of 16. So count your stitches, and if anything, go up a little bit to get to the 16 count. Here are some approximate stitch counts so you will know how many to make. And then we're going to add one more stitch to start our sweater. So my starting foundation is 65 stitches. For my white sweater, I did 81. So let's do a chain 1 and turn. Starting in that very first stitch, we're going to put single crochet in the first stitch, and we're going to do a single crochet in each stitch all the way across. This is row 2, and this will be the first row of our repeat pattern of row 2 to 7. I'll meet you at the end. Make sure you don't forget that very last stitch. We're then going to chain 1 and turn. We're now going to start the wave. So we're going to put one single crochet in each of the first 2 stitches. So 1 and 2. And we're going to end our row like this as well. So now we're going to chain 1 and then skip 1. And in the next stitch, we're going to put a half double crochet. And then we will chain 1 and skip 1. And then we're going to put a double crochet. So here's our double crochet, and then chain 1, skip 1, and in the next one we're going to put a treble crochet. So wrapping around 2 times and into the stitch, pulling up, go through 2 again, and through 2 again. Chain 1, skip 1, and we're going to do another treble crochet. So wrapping around 2 times for the treble crochet. That is our second treble crochet. Again, chain 1, skip 1, and now working downwards, now it'll be our double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, and a half double crochet. Again, chain 1, skip 1, and we will do a single crochet. And then we're going to do 3 single crochet in a row. So making sure that you just skip the 1, there's our half double crochet in there, and we're going to do 3 single crochet, 1 in each of the next 3 stitches. So this is our first wave. So after your single crochet, you will have the series of 16 stitches for each wave. So you'll see how it'll be your half double crochet, and then skip, double, skip, treble, skip, treble, skip, double, skip, half double crochet, skip, and then your 3 single crochet. And of course the chain is in between them. So let's do another wave. From the 3 single crochet, we're going to start chain 1 and then skip 1, half double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, treble crochet. chain 1, skip 1, another treble crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, half double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, and 3 single crochet. 1, 2, and 3. Continue this pattern until we get to the end. So here we are at the end. We just finished our double crochet, and this is going to be our half double crochet. We're then going to chain 1, skip 1, and it's just going to be 2 single crochet, 1 in each of the last 2 stitches. So 1 in this, and 1 in the last. So your wave pattern is going to be equal on each end. So the beginning and the end are both going to start with 2 single crochet. So for row 4, let's chain 1 and turn. So for this row, we're going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch and 1 single crochet in each space. So let's start. So 1 single crochet in the first and 1 single crochet in the second, and now there's a chain space. You can see right in there the chain space, and that's where we're going to put another single crochet. And then we're going to put 1 into that half double crochet that's right there. So right into this part of the half double crochet. So just make sure you get under both parts, both loops there, and our single crochet. And then again in the space. And then we're going to put 1 into the double crochet and 1 in the space. We're going to put 1 in our treble crochet and put 1 in the space. One in our next treble crochet, 1 in the space, one stitch into our double crochet, and 1 in the space, 1 into the half double crochet. Remember, those are the tricky ones there. And 1 in the space. Then we will put 1 single crochet in each of that 3 single crochet from the round below. So 1, 2, and 3. And this is what it should look like so far. So let's do the next wave together. So remember, after each group of 3, there is a space there. So 1 in the space, 2 is in the half double crochet, 3 is in the space, 4 is in the double, and then 5 is in the space, 6 is in the treble, 7 is in the space, 8 is in the treble, 9 in the space, 10 is in the double, 11 is the space, 12 is the half, 13 is the space, and then 1 in each of the next 3, 14, 15, and 16. So each wave from beginning to end, wherever you do start counting, will be 16 stitches. It's very important not to miss any to make sure that our next round goes okay. So here we are at the last few stitches. So again, 1 in the space, and then our last 2, we're going to put 1 and 2. We will then chain 1 and turn. So this round is pretty simple. We're just going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way across. So this is row 5. So just 1 single crochet in each stitch. You can always count these stitches if you would like to make sure you're still starting with your set amount of stitches that you had at the beginning, just to make sure. So for our next round, we're going to do the opposite wave. So we're going to start this with the chain 4 and turn. So this is the start of our row 6, and we're going to start with half of a wave. So this chain 4 will count as a treble crochet, and then we're going to put 1 more in the next stitch. So not in the first, but in the next. So starting with a treble crochet into the next stitch. So now we're going to work down the wave. So we're going to chain 1, skip 1, and put our double crochet. And then we will chain 1, skip 1, and put our half double crochet. And then we're going to chain 1, skip 1, and put 3 single crochet. So there's our chain and our skip and 3. 1, 2, and 3. So now you can see how our wave will be opposite. So these 3 single crochet will always line up with the 2 treble crochet from the rounds below. So if you have a look at those 3, they will always line up with the 2 treble down below. That way you know that your pattern's staying correct. So from here now, we can continue with our normal wave stitch. So we'll just walk through one here. So chain 1, skip 1, half double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double, chain 1, skip 1, treble, chain 1, skip 1, another treble, chain 1, skip 1, double, chain 1, skip 1, half, and then chain 1, skip 1, 3 single crochet. So this is how your wave stitch would look. So again, those 3 single are above the double, and again on the other part of the row, the double that we just made will be above the 3 single. So let's just continue this to the end of the row. So finishing this row will be the same as how we started. So we just finished our 3 single crochet. We're going to chain 1 and do a half, chain 1, do a double, chain 1, of course skipping. Then those last 2 stitches we're going to put 2 treble crochet. So 1 treble crochet and no chain in between. So the last 2 on each end of the rows do not have chains in between, and then another treble. And that's how we'll finish the wave. So always 2 on each side, just like we started. So now we can chain 1 and turn, and we will do row 7. So row 7 is going to be 1 single crochet into each stitch and 1 single crochet into each space. So making sure that you don't miss any spaces or any stitches. So you're going to do this stitch all the way along. So I'll do the first little bit with you here. So into the space, and then into the double, and into the space, and then the half, and remember that space there, and then the 3 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, and remember the space after that. That one can sometimes be forgotten, so we want to remember that space. And then continue. So this is just finishing row 7. So we're putting the single crochet in the space, the one in the double, a single crochet in the space, and then we're going to put 1 single crochet in the first treble, and then we're going to put 1 single crochet in that top chain space of the stitch next to it. So right in that top space of the, so it's the 4th chain of the chain 4, and put our single crochet. So from here we can chain 1 and turn. So we've now done rows 2 to 7. This row 2 to 7 is going to be a repeat. So if we look at our work, the last row that we did, this is a good time to do a color change if you wanted to do one here, but I'm going to do a few more rows. So our first row we're not counting, so this was our 2nd row. Then came our 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. So here is where we're going to start row 2. So I did 25 rows before I did a color change. So I did 6 rounds of the wave, so from the 2 to 7, and then of course my starting row. So if you'd like to change the color, this is how we'll do it. So just back off of your last stitch that we just did, that last single crochet, and I'm going to show you how to join the new color. So insert your hook, pull up a loop, and now from here we're going to add the new color. So just grab that new color and pull it through to finish that stitch. Just as simple as that. So from here we can then do the chain 1 and turn. So we will start our row 2 to 7 pattern. So starting with 1 single crochet in each stitch. You can cut your first color, but just leave a long enough tail to weave the sides together, because I like to use the same color for weaving the sides. So I left about a 10 to 20 inch tail, or 50 centimeters. To know how long we need to make this first piece, measure from your chest to your hips, or for however long you'd like to have your sweater sit. So my length is 17 inches or 43 centimeters, and I did the same for my white pullover as well. So you need to stop at the end of your row 2 to 7 repeat. This will make a good transition for doing the sleeve, because we're going to add the sleeve like this. From our first row, we're going to start our first row here, and we're going to be doing a foundation single crochet stitch, and then start by attaching it here. So this is going to be the right side of your pullover or sweater. So we're essentially just starting where we left off at this corner here. So let's start with our foundation single crochet. So let's start with a slip knot. We will then chain 2. For the foundation single crochet, we're going to insert our hook into the bump of the first chain. So into the back part of that first chain. Draw up a loop. We're going to yarn over and just pull through 1. And that's going to make it like the chain on the bottom, and then yarn over and pull through 2 to finish the single crochet. So now we will start in that V or chain from the round below. So right there from the bottom, pull up 1, yarn over, go through 1, so that's our bottom chain, and yarn over through 2 to finish our single crochet. Again, on the bottom, going through the stitch, pull up a loop through 1, and yarn over, single crochet. And like I said, it's easy to do this upside down. So measure your arm length, so pretty much from under your armpit to your wrist, and make sure your stitches are divisible by 8 or 16. This way your sleeve will start either on the half wave or on the full wave. So I have really long arms, and I did a 72 foundation single crochet. So it was about 20 inches or 51 centimeters. But see how nice and stretchy it is? So from here, we're going to attach it to our main body of the sweater, and we're going to do our single crochet. So this here will be our row 2. So starting in that very first single crochet, we're going to put a single crochet into there. And now just one single crochet all the way across, just like our row 2. So this is what it should look like. So you can see this was our last stitch right here and our first stitch joining. So continue the single crochet across the body of the sweater. I will meet you here at the other end and show you how to do the other sleeve. So to start our foundation single crochet, we need to do the same amount of number, but we're going to start here by just going into our last single crochet, pulling up a loop, and then yarn over, pull through 1, and that gives our chain at the bottom, and then yarn over and pull through both. So this starts us with our foundation. So then from there we can continue under both, through 1, and then through 2, so that's number 2. So continue until you have the same amount as your other sleeve. So again, you can see here how this was our last single crochet, and then we just transitioned to our foundation single crochet. So now we have to decide whether we start on a half wave or on a full wave. So right here at the join of my sweater, you can see this was a half wave. So the next one is like the row down below that. It's got to be a full wave. So a full one here. So then it continues around and makes the full one. So if you can see that, so I'll have a full here. So that's 16 stitches and a full there. So if my number was divisible by 16, I would have to start on the full wave. So my number is divisible by 8. So I will start on a half wave. So I'm going to start by doing the chain 4. And then turning my work and then doing a treble crochet into the next stitch. So not that first one, but into the next stitch. So doing my treble crochet, and then working down the wave. So doing a chain 1, doing the double, chain 1 and the half, and then chain 1 and 3 single crochet. So I will meet you at the body of the sweater. So this is what it should look like for your sleeve so far. So we've got all our waves and we're coming here to the body of the sweater. So I just finished the last wave. So here's the double and here's the half. So continuing on, I'm going to make sure that I have a chain 1, skip 1, and then my 3 single crochet. So you can see my first single crochet will be off, and then my first 2 will be on the body, just like the rounds below. So from here, chain 1, skip 1, and there's our single crochet. So just get it into that one. And then our second single crochet and our third single crochet. And you'll see that those 2 single crochet line up exactly with how our round should start. So now we just continue with our waves. And as you can see here, we are still all lined up. So now we're just coming up to our other sleeve. So I will just show you as well that it should line up. So just finishing these last stitches, it's our half double crochet, our chain 1, and then we're skipping 1 and our 3 double crochet. So 1, 2, which is on the pattern on the body, and then the third one that starts the sleeve. And then just chain 1 and continue your pattern. You should end up at the very end with your half wave. So here we are at the end. We're just finishing going up the wave. So that's our double crochet, chain 1. We're going to skip 1 and put our treble crochet. And then in our last stitch, 1 more treble crochet. So remember, no chain and treble crochet. So this is row 3 of our pattern of our rows 2 to 7. So chain 1 and turn and just continue along. So I did 21 rows for my arm width, so it was about 7 inches or 18 centimeters. You can make them wider if you need to. And also you can see how I did my color change pattern here. So now we just have to make another one. Now to join the front to the back. With your stitch markers, mark the neck opening. This you'll have to hold up to see whether you'll want it smaller or bigger, but it should definitely be smaller than the body of your sweater. Once you have the shoulders marked, place your right sides together and attach with your stitch marker the front to the back. We will now weave together our sides. So we're going to use our ends here to weave the ends so the colors match. So of course for this color we're going to weave it in here, and for this color down here. So with your darning needle, we can just stitch back and forth, or whatever your favorite stitch is, to close the side. So just line up your sides and stitch in and out. Use your favorite stitch if you would like, but just make sure everything is lined up nicely. I like to just take a little bit of the stitch from each side and place it through. So just going through the stitch to make a nice close. Just check as you go along to make sure that your seam is closed. And it looks great. So just continue this side seam, and I'll show you a different way of closing it for under the arm. So for the under the arm, it's the same color, so I'm going to slip stitch this together. So inserting my hook into one of the stitches and into one from the other side, we're going to slip stitch this seam closed. So grabbing a new strand of yarn to do this. So we can pull up the yarn and slip stitch. So going through, I like to go under both stitches or both pieces of yarn on each side to close. So just going under both, pulling up the yarn, and doing a slip stitch. And I will continue this for the entire arm. You should now have finished stitching the side and under the arm. We can now do the top part of the arm, or the arm and shoulder. So we're going to stitch this together from the neck opening to the bottom of the sleeve. So here is the neck opening, and this is the portion that we're going to put together. So we'll start here at the sleeve, lining it all the way up and working to where the neck opening is. So make sure both parts are lined up. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go into the outside of each single crochet on each side just to make it look a little bit different. So with a new piece of yarn, taking those outside stitches, we are going to do slip stitches. So we're just going to join with the slip stitch, taking the outside and slip stitch. I'll do a few and then I'll show you how this looks. You can do any kind of closing that you would like on how you would like your sweater to look. So now you can see we still have this ridge, but on the other side, we have the two lines from the other side of the stitch, those two lines that go through, and they will show at the top of the shoulder and arm, and I really like this look. So once you get to the neck opening, you can remove your stitch marker. So before you cut your yarn, just make sure that all your stitches look the same. So turn your sleeve right side out and just have a look and make sure that you're happy with it before you cut the yarn. So this is how my stitch looks. The other thing you might want to do is try it on at this time just to make sure the neck opening isn't too big or too small. If you're happy with the opening, then you can just cut your yarn and weave this end closed. You can then slip stitch the other arm, but at this point do not cut this yarn because we're going to use it to do our neck opening. So just lock your stitch just so it doesn't unravel and turn your sweater right side out so we can do the neck opening. Once you have your sweater turned around, you can take your stitch marker out that locks the stitch. So we're now going to do single crochet around the neck. So let's just start in the first stitch with a single crochet, but then we're going to put 2 single crochet together because we want to gather the neck a little bit. So insert into the first, then insert into the second, yarn over and pull through both. This is a single crochet decrease or 2 together. So what we're going to do is 6 single crochet and then a decrease. And this is just going to gather our neck up nicely. So this here is number 4, then we'll do number 5 and number 6. And now we'll do a decrease. And now let's just repeat this around the entire neck. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a decrease. Let's just repeat. When you have reached the start, you can end with a decrease. So just pulling both sides together there, going into it, right into that first stitch where we started, and doing your decrease. So let's do another row around. So we're just going to single crochet 1 in each stitch to the other side. So just putting 1 single crochet into each single crochet from the round below. When you get to the join, do 2 decreases on each end. So in the first stitch here, we're going to do a decrease. And then on the other side, we'll do a decrease. This just pulls the seam together nicely. And then single crochet back to the start. When you get back to the start, let's end with 2 decreases again. So we will now do again 1 more row of single crochet all the way around with decreases at each end. And then for our final row, we're going to finish with 1 row of slip stitch all the way around. So let's just do 1 slip stitch in each stitch from the round below. This just gives the neck a really nice finish. We can then cut the yarn and weave in your end. After you have finished the neck, we can weave in all of our loose ends. And you can just leave the sweater like this, and it's absolutely beautiful. But if you want, we can add some cuffs. So let's add a cuff. So this cuff is made with slip stitches, and we work it into the back loop of each slip stitch. You can make this cuff as long as you would like. So let's start in the seam under the arm. Grabbing our new yarn, we're just going to pull up a loop and chain 1. So we're going to start with a base and put single crochet all the way around. So in each chain space, we're going to put 2 single crochet. And then in the other section, we're just going to put 5 single crochet evenly spaced in between. So wherever you can find a spot, just put 5 single crochet in between. And then in the chain space, 2 single crochet. We'll see you back around at the beginning. Once you have reached the beginning, we'll slip stitch to join into that first single crochet. So now we can start our cuff. So let's chain 9, or however long you would like the cuff. So mine will be a series of 8 stitches for the cuff. So you'll make 1 more than the length that you would like. 1 more chain. So once you have your length, we can turn our work and we're going to slip stitch into the second chain from the hook. And then we're going to slip stitch into each chain going down. So my count will be 8. So this here is number 7, and then we'll have number 8. We're then going to put 1 slip stitch into each of the next 2 stitches. So 1 slip stitch, and then into the next one, 1 more slip stitch. We can now turn the work. So turning your work, we will skip those 2 slip stitches that we just did, and we're going to work into the next one into the back loop only of that stitch. So right in there, and we will do 8 slip stitch. So there's 1, 2, and my yarn just came apart there for a minute, so let's redo this one. So this here is number 2. And 3. 4. 5, this is 6, 7, and here is the last one, number 8. So right in there for our 8 slip stitches. We will then chain 1 and turn. So we will start in that first stitch, so back loop only, and we will do our 8 slip stitches. It's kind of slow at first, but you want to make sure you get a good start with this, and you'll definitely get faster at it as you go along. So once you have your 8 stitches, so this one here is number 8, so here we have our 8 stitches. So this one we've already worked in, so we're going to do a slip stitch in the next 2. So one in here and one here. We will then turn our work, skip those first 2 slip stitch, starting into the next one, and do our 8 slip stitch to the end. So you can see how the cuff is taking shape. It's really nice and stretchy. So just continue all the way around and I'll meet you at the beginning. So once you're back at the beginning, we're just going to do 1 slip stitch at the end. And then we're going to bring our ends together. So now we're just going to line it up and slip stitch this together. So what we're going to do is just go into that first section, and then on the other side, I'm just going to go into the outside part of that stitch, and then we're going to do a slip stitch. So remember, this is the outside of the sweater, and this seam will show. So I just grab that outside portion and slip stitch. Once you have finished, you can just cut your yarn and weave in your ends. And do it for the next cuff. For the bottom ribbing, I did it a little bit different. So pulling up a new yarn, we do not have to do a stitch all the way around because we already have a nice base to start with. So I started with 9 chains. So like I said, you can have this as wide as you would like. So I am doing 9. In the second chain from the hook, we're going to do a single crochet. And then we're going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch. So I will have 8. If you want, you can do the same ribbing that you did on the cuff, but I just wanted mine to have a little bit of a looser look for the bottom part. So here I have number 7, and in the last one I have number 8. So 8 single crochet. We're then going to slip stitch into the next 3 stitches. So putting into the next 3, so there's 1, 2, and 3. And then we'll turn our work. So the same as the cuff. This time we will skip those 3 slip stitches, and working into the next, we're going to do 8 single crochet, back loop only, and at the end, chain 1 and turn. After we turn, we will start in that first stitch and do 8 single crochet, back loop only. We've already worked into this, so into the next one, then we'll do 3 slip stitch. So 1, 2, 3, and turn. And let's just repeat this pattern all the way along. So again, skipping the first 3, 8 single crochet, chain 1 and turn. So now you can see how the cuff is coming along. So really what we're doing is we're putting 2 rows into every 3 stitches. So it kind of gathers it at the same time. So you'll see here 2 rows into the 3 stitches at the end. And here you can see how it is gathering. So once you've reached around to the beginning, we're going to just do the 1 slip stitch to finish, and then we will bring our ends together. So from here we can just line up our stitches and do a slip stitch to join. Then you just need to weave your ends and you've got a great sweater. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Stick around to the end. I'm going to give you a sneak peek of what's coming next, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.